Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Harakakadash. The bonus to elder apostles, the great millstone that rule well, and Shalom to all the brothers doing the work of serving truth. Yeah, you've well the big kind of thing as far as like legally is with the what they call the big beautiful bill for Trump's got through. I think they said like it was what 1800 pages, something in that kind of range, where the full extent of it is we'll wait and see because I'm sure things will kind of come out within that might have been mentioned here and there or might not have been fully known. But when it comes to legislation, that's a facet of Esau's system of how he pushes things through. And then because in the UK it's the same kind of thing where laws will be passed, and then people might not know the implications of it till like 7-8 years down the line, or they kind of expand on it over time from its original use. And that's kind of what this article's about. It's on CNN. It says law used to kick out Nazis could be used to strip citizenship from many more Americans. And yeah, so now you've basically had birthright citizenship. I believe it's been I think it got through the ability to strip citizenship of certain birthright citizens, which it's kind of wild, but that's that's the nature of this term of Nero's run, man. So it says, for decades, the U.S. Department of Justice has used a tool to sniff out former Nazis who lied their way into becoming American citizens, a law that allowed the department to denaturalize or strip citizenship from criminals who falsified their records or hid their illicit past. That power, under the new Trump administration, may be broadening. According to a memo issued by the Justice Department last month, attorneys should aim their denaturalization work to target a much broader swathe of individuals, anyone who may pose a potential danger to national security. Yeah. And the thing with these laws is, that danger to national security is currently being, aimed at the Northern Kingdom. But then it's something that I just think like, well, all these laws, they can aim them, towards brothers, because you've kind of had the push in like the last 7-8 years kind of range where, domestic tea, if you know what tea is, domestic tea begins with tea, has become a big focal point with events that happen. You had like even this year in the US, you had a few things go down. You had one recently actually. Let's see. Yeah, you had one recently. And it's basically become a broadened term, and more things kind of get put in there. Because I know over here it was like what was her name? Jo Cox. When Jo Cox got wigged like at a yard, that was a big one. And then they had like there was a few other incidents, but that was kind of the key one where it was just like that was kind of wild. But then it's something that has been broadened to even like people posting things online or saying things online, and then with that, obviously we're just teaching the word, we're just prophesying against this place. But that's something that you can tell through the process of time. Is the definition is definitely going to be expanded to include these kinds of things, man. Because let's say people who have committed violent crimes are members or associates of gangs and drug cartels or have committed fraud should also be prioritized. The memo issued by the head of the DOJ Civil Division. For many officials and experts, the real concern, they said, is that it's designed to strike fear in the hearts of legal immigrants across the country, particularly those who are at odds with Trump himself. The politicization of citizen rights is something that really worries me. I think it's just flatly inconsistent with our democratic system. Cassandra Burke Robertson, a law professor at Case Western Reserve University, told CNN. So yeah, the statute in question is part of a McCarthy-era law first established to root out communists during the Red Scare, but its most common use over the years has been against war criminals. In 1979, the Justice Department established a unit that used the statute to deport hundreds of people who assisted the Nazis. Eli Rosenbaum, the man who led it for years, helped the department strip citizenship from or deport 100 people and earn a reputation as the DOJ's most prolific Nazi hunter. So yeah, it was 1979, and it's funny they said it was originally used for communists, but it was used on Nazis. So it's already been expanded. And that's the thing is once these things are passed into law, then the application can be broadened, and that's generally what you see. Generally, you'll see it kind of initially is like, oh, I said we're just going to use, and the key example you can always use is the Patriot Act, and then that was something where a moment of crisis, gave over basically unlimited power. Unlimited power to to the government over the citizens, to where you can basically have your rights stripped away. Man can grab you up and dash you in jail on no crimes for as long as they wish, because because it had been such a crisis. And that's the nature of how Esau gets down with his legislation. He utilizes it as a tool to what's it called? He utilizes it as a tool to basically achieve his aims. Whether the letter of it is important insofar as it's generally left vague enough or broad enough to kind of be expanded. And that's where it's like with these, that's exactly what I'll be thinking. It's going as far as, because the stripping of citizenship in the States, I think it's like that's even the justification for them to be able to grab them up, deport them, ship them to wherever. And I wouldn't be surprised, especially given what we know is gonna come with the Markman, with the MOTB. These are the things that are likely going to be used as a justification against those that don't want to get down. And then RFK Jr.'s gearing up with the wearables, and wearables has been essentially the part of the lead up, the build up towards that. But Isaiah 10 and 1, Salah. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and unrighteous grievousness which they have prescribed. Yeah, decree unrighteous decrees, and that's really the truth of what these laws are that are passed. They're unrighteous decrees. They're passed essentially as a means, as a tool to achieve the ends that Esau desires. Whatever those that bear rule, those that have these things go through. You might think it's one thing. Oh, it's to save, it's for protection, it's to keep X, Y, Z. But then how is it utilized? As far as those law, it was meant to, that was dealing with a post World War II situation, or dealing with what the hell is the term? The Cold War, during the Cold War, the Red Scare and whatnot. But now it's big 2025, and neither of neither of those fucking of those uses are being neither of those uses are you know, how the law's being applied. But you know, that's how these things get down. That's you know, the truth of how these laws are set up. It's once, you know, they're passed into law, then how they can be used, how they can be applied, doesn't you know, that's not as and not as important. And we can go back to the example, Daniel 8:25, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. Whereas I believe talking about Antiochus. Just yeah, I believe it's Antiochus, the fourth, and yeah, that craft, you know, that those laws that are passed are used, you know, to his benefit. Because with you know, in the time of the Greeks, what was it? It was he passed a law that all should be one people within the land. It's always funny. It's like in 300 you had what do you call it? The thingies, the Persians, who let you know, Jake basically practice their worship, and then you know, presented as the villains, and then the Greeks were fighting for freedom. But it was the, you know, it was the Greeks that came in and you know, oppressed Jerusalem heavily, and then was, you know, making them have to follow after and worship after the, you know, the Greek practices, do sacrifices unto Zeus and whatnot. So you know, it's always interesting. But obviously it's like the, you know, in Esau society now, what they say, civilization started with the Greeks. You know, the Greeks are deified. They call, you know, all the novels, the books written by the Greeks, we call them the classics. You know, the classics, they're the root of the ethics and whatnot of Esau's system. You know, they uphold them. But then obviously it's like, you know, when you're dealing with the scriptures, then, you know, the fullness of you know, how this man gets down. So it says, through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but shall be broken without hand. And yeah, and by peace shall destroy many. And that's, you know, the same MO, man. Because what is it? Is it Psalms 50, I believe? What is thou to do to declare my statutes? Science. I was not altogether. What was it? I was looking for. Yes. Was it 50 or 51? Was it the word and I was thinking of, and by peace shall destroy many. Was it 50 that I'm thinking of? Hold on. Slack. Give me a sec. There's tongue frame of deceit, but then there's one specifically. think not the one exactly, but Psalms 10:1, it says, "Why standest thou far off, O Lord Yahweh? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor, let them be taken in the devices they have imagined. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous, whom the Lord Yahweh abhorreth." And yeah, the let him be taken in the devices he imagined. That's a big part of, because what these elite are really hoping for and working for is the downfall of Jake, man. They're basically looking to bring a full end of Israel. The so-called Negro, Hispanics, and Native Americans, not the state of Israel. Because what I say, the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his faults. His ways are always grievous, and thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, and I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. And yeah, that's, as far as it's all, whenever these justifications, these laws are presented, it's always as far as like, oh, it's being done, for the greater good, to justify, to as far as for balance, or, for the greater good of mankind. But then, how does it end up, playing out? How does it end up being used? Always grievousness, man. But yeah, I'll leave it on that. I think yeah, I'll leave it on that. Shalom.